I used to think heartbreak was something you only felt once, like a lightning strike, a sudden, violent burst of pain followed by a long, quiet recovery. But real heartbreak doesn't work like that. It revisits you. It whispers at night. It claws at you with familiar hands. My name is Aaron, I'm 33 now, and this story started 2 years ago, on a late September evening when the air smelled like rain and the sun seemed to disappear too early. Her name was Mara. We met in our mid-20s, at a mutual friend's dinner gathering. She was the only person in the room who didn't seem to care about impressing anyone. She laughed with her whole chest. She interrupted people when she disagreed. She had that kind of raw authenticity that makes you feel like you're the one pretending. I fell for her fast, like a stone off a bridge. We were together for 6 years. And then in year 5, she cheated. I discovered it at 2:17 in the morning, when her phone lit up beside me. A message preview flashing a name I didn't recognize. I can still taste you. I remember the feeling. Like my stomach fell through the bed. Like gravity skipped. The full story is long, but the summary is simple. It lasted 3 months. It happened with a coworker. And when it ended, she came home crying, begging, saying she made a mistake, that I was the one she wanted, that she didn't want to lose the life we built. I wish I could say I was strong enough to walk away right then. But I wasn't. I spent my entire childhood trying to save broken things. My parents' marriage, my brother from addiction, myself from loneliness. Fixing things felt like my purpose. So what did I do? I took her back. I told everyone I forgave her. I told myself I forgave her. I tried to believe that forgiveness was the same as healing. When people talk about reconciliation after infidelity, they make it sound like a dramatic montage. Therapy sessions, tearful apologies, slow rebuilding. But the truth is more complicated. The first month was hell. Every time she touched me, I wondered how she touched him. Every time she said, "I love you," my brain replayed that message on her lock screen. My chest felt like it was being squeezed by a fist I couldn't see. But she was trying, really trying. She cooked more. She wrote me long apology letters. She kept her phone unlocked and face down. She deleted her social media. She stopped hanging out with coworkers. For a while, I believed it might work. We even moved to a new apartment, thinking a fresh space would erase old shadows. But here's something I learned. You can't outrun ghosts. You take them with you. Still, slowly, painfully, I started to feel okay. Not healed, not whole, but functional. And on one random Tuesday morning, I woke up and realized I wasn't thinking about him anymore. That was the day everything began to fall apart, again. It started subtly. A question here. A suspicious look there. A long pause before she handed me my phone. At first, I chalked it up to anxiety. She knew she'd broken something fundamental between us, and I assumed she was scared I'd leave. But the questions kept multiplying. Why did you smile at your phone? Who were you texting? Why did you work late? Why did you say she when talking about your coworker? Why did your ex like your photo 2 months ago? Why did you shower before telling me you were home? Why did you look away just now? Every day it felt like I was living under an interrogation lamp. And the worst part? She wasn't asking these questions as accusations. She was asking them as if she was bracing for pain. As if she expected me to do exactly what she'd done to me. One night, about 6 months after taking her back, I went to a friend's birthday dinner. There were 8 of us, including an old college friend named Lila. Lila and I had known each other forever. We weren't close, but we had history, friendly history. At the dinner, we talked for maybe 15 minutes total. Nothing flirty, nothing inappropriate. Just small talk, jokes, updates on life. But Mara was watching. Her eyes followed every move. Her jaw tightened every time Lila spoke. Her leg bounced under the table non-stop. When we got home, she exploded. Screaming. Accusing. Sobbing. She asked if I'd slept with Lila. She asked if I wished I had. She asked if I was already planning to leave her for someone less broken. I stood there stunned, because the argument felt like a funhouse mirror version of the night I found the message on her phone. It was like she'd swapped our roles in her head. She was the one betrayed. I was the one unfaithful. Reality didn't matter anymore. Over the next few weeks, her paranoia grew into something massive, almost monstrous. She started checking my phone every morning and night, reading my emails, calling my office to make sure I was really there, tracking my location through Google, asking for video calls randomly, just to see I'm alone, waking up at night to see if I was texting someone, accusing me of cheating if I seemed too quiet, accusing me of cheating if I seemed too happy, accusing me of cheating if I didn't immediately reply to her messages. One day, she followed me to the gym without telling me. Another day, she showed up at my workplace saying she forgot something in my car. I don't know what she expected to find. But the breaking point came when she questioned me about a receipt. A receipt. I bought lunch at a cafe. The cashier was a guy named Jacob. But Mara decided the name looked feminine and therefore must have been a woman. She cried for 3 hours over Jacob. Here's the part that messed me up the most. While she was drowning in paranoia, I was actually starting to heal. I wasn't comparing myself to the guy she cheated with anymore. I wasn't replaying the betrayal daily. I wasn't imagining them together. But she was imagining me with someone else, every minute, every second. It felt like I was paying for her guilt. Like she handed her shame to me and called it mine. And no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. I could show her my phone, she'd say I must have deleted something. I could leave work early, she'd say I must have gone somewhere before that. I could tell her she was the only one I wanted, she'd say I didn't sound convincing. I tried to reassure her. I tried therapy. I tried notes, dates, checking in more often. I tried having difficult conversations. I tried being patient. But guilt is a hungry animal. And hers had an endless stomach. I wish I could say I left right then. But love makes you stupid in slow, painful ways. It wasn't just love, though. It was investment. Time. History. Hope. Fear of starting over. Fear of being alone. Fear of failing publicly. Fear of looking like the guy who tried but couldn't make it work. But mostly, I wanted to believe I hadn't wasted 6 years. So I stayed. And the longer I stayed, the more I lost pieces of myself. I stopped hanging out with friends. I stopped going to after-work events. I stopped talking to female coworkers altogether. I stopped using social media. I stopped making eye contact with women in public. I even stopped listening to certain songs because they reminded her of romantic cheating vibes. I shrunk myself to fit the space she needed me to be in. But the smaller I became, the larger her fear grew. And then came the day that finally broke me. It was a Sunday morning. Quiet, peaceful, warm sunlight through the curtains. I woke up to the sound of her crying on the edge of the bed. At first, I panicked. I thought something was wrong. But then she turned to me with this look, this horrible, devastated look. "I had a dream," she whispered. "What dream?" "You cheated on me." I blinked. "Mara, it was a dream." She didn't hear me. She sobbed harder. She said it felt real. She said she couldn't shake it. She said she knew I wanted someone else. She said she felt it in her chest. And before I could say anything else, she told me she needed space. Space. The woman who monitored my location needed space. Because of a dream. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Not in anger. Not in rage. In exhaustion. Complete, unshakable exhaustion. I realized I wasn't healing anymore. I was simply surviving. Living in a house on fire and calling it warm. The next morning, I packed a bag. Not everything, just enough to get by. When she saw me walking toward the door, she froze. "Where are you going?" I told her I needed a few days to myself. She crumpled. Begging. Screaming. Promising to change. Promising she'd stop questioning me. Promising she'd get therapy. Promising she'd be better. Begging me not to leave, like the men in her dreams. But I wasn't angry. I wasn't cold. I was empty. I told her I wasn't leaving forever. I just needed clarity. And when I stepped out the door, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Air. Actual, breathable air. I planned to stay 2 days. I stayed 3 weeks. I slept better. I ate better. I reconnected with friends. I didn't have panic attacks when my phone buzzed. I didn't have to prove anything to anyone. I felt like a human again. Of course, she texted constantly. Half the messages were apologies. Half were accusations. Some were threats. Some were love letters. But the more distance I had, the clearer everything became. Her paranoia wasn't about me. It was about herself. Her guilt. Her shame. Her fear that karma was coming for her. I wasn't her partner anymore, I was her punishment. And I didn't want to live as a consequence for someone else's mistakes. When I finally went back to the apartment to talk, she looked more fragile than I'd ever seen her. She asked if I'd met someone. I said no. She asked if I hated her. I said no. She asked if I was leaving because of her. I said yes. I told her I loved her once, deeply. But love wasn't enough to erase what happened. It wasn't enough to survive what followed. I told her the truth. I stayed because I wanted to heal together. But your guilt became louder than my forgiveness. And now we're both drowning. She cried quietly. A different kind of cry. One that sounded like acceptance. She asked if we could try again. I told her I didn't have anything left to try with. And that was it. I walked out. And she didn't chase me this time. It's been 8 months now. I'm not going to pretend everything is perfect. Breakups after betrayal leave scars in weird, invisible places. But I'm better. More myself than I've been in years. I'm dating again, slowly. I laugh easier. I breathe deeper. I don't check my phone obsessively. I don't live under suspicion. I don't wake up to accusations over dreams. And I've accepted something important. Forgiving someone doesn't always mean you should keep them. Sometimes forgiveness is just the key that unlocks your escape. I don't hate Mara. In some strange way, I hope she heals too. But as for me, I'm finally free. And I should have left the day she cheated. But I'm grateful I left the day I finally remembered who I was.